Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. You should be joining the broadcast shortly. I'll wait for a few people to join. So far, it's only one person, so I'm sure it's going to get busier. That always happens in the first second that I turn it on. I'll give it a couple more minutes. Today, I am decked out in props. Should be a very interesting show today. Lots of cool stuff to go through. Give it a few more minutes and let everybody say hello, and I'm starting to get them now as we start to fill up with users. Nice. So yes, people are coming on. Hello. Hello, Stephen. Yes, we're filling up nicely. Okay, so I'll give it a bit more time. I'll talk about some of the cool stuff that we're going to do today. I've took a challenge from Richard Killey. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Richard, if you're on today, please feel free to post. Bill says, looking good. Oh, you have no idea what I'm up to today, but it's going to be interesting, I assure you that. Tom says, hello. Danny says, hi. I'm not sure if Melanie's there. She can pipe in. We will get to the show in a couple of minutes. For now, I will tell you that this is the Art of the Name podcast. It is every day Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join our group, we have a private Facebook group. It is at facebook.com/groups/the Art of the Name. It only took me about 6 weeks to get that name right, so I'm glad I finally got it right. We have a lot to cover today. I see it, streams are filling up nicely. So Richard Killey posted something in the Art of the Name group, and he said, does anybody have any swag that they've gotten from previous shows or things like that? Well, obviously, I have a lot since I've attended and spoken at, probably over 100 trade shows in my time. Hi, Abhishek. Good to see you. So I'll let the comments flow. We'll go back to the banner for a second. So I've got some good stuff to show you. I didn't think I was going to have as much fun as I did getting all this stuff out and going through some of the memories, but it was actually quite fun to figure out some of this stuff. What I am wearing is all of the name tags that I have worn at the conferences that I have attended and spoken at, and you can see some of them will say they were sponsored by DN Forum on the top. That was when I owned it. This one was another thing that Moniker put on at a different event, Domain Fest. This one is Traffic 2013. There's some really good ones here, though. I want to make sure I don't miss any of them. This one was when I was a speaker in Spain, at Valencia, Spain. I was the main speaker at the conference in Spain. I also have, this is when I got invited to meet Warren Buffett in Omaha, Nebraska, and I also spoke at a different session when I was there. So that was a fun one. This one is Traffic 2014. Let's see what we got here. There's a whole bunch of them. It's kind of fun to look at and go through. Okay, so this one is when .club held a dinner, a private dinner in New York, and you can see the 50 on the back here. I was invited to meet 50 Cent that night at a private dinner and had a really good time there. I brought my wife to New York. The hotel room was tiny, damn near killed me. This is another Domain Fest, again, digital intelligence. Let's see what else we got here. This is the Valencia trip to Europe. That was the actual name tag they gave me. That was run by an awesome guy. This one is, well, it's another Traffic. This one is NamesCon, one of the NamesCons I attended and spoke at, one of the earlier ones. I think you get the idea. I didn't realize how much fun I was going to have doing all this, but it was a lot of fun putting all these on. What I did find, and I'll take them off in a second. Oh yeah, one year I brought my wife. She had a good time too. So now you've seen all these things. I'm going to try to take them off without destroying everything in place. But these were just some of the shows that I went to and I spoke at. I don't tend to save much, but I do tend to save the name tags. And look at that. I will put them over here on the couch, and we can come back to that later. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little name tag show. I've spoken at tons of them. And let's go back to some of the cool stuff. Here's a targeted traffic guide. This one was from 2009, and I spoke at that one. I'm in there somewhere. And then this one is from 2013. Also spoke at that one. And here's the first one. It's the first one that I could find. I've been at others. This was one from 2005. So that tells you how far I go back. And I actually looked in it to see who the speakers were. And you can see there's Rick Schwartz and Howard New. They ran all these shows. And without those guys, I wouldn't be where I am today. They've both done a lot for me, and I really appreciate them. And then I found a little section on me where actually it says I was the CEO of the N Forum, and I spoke there. I'm not sure if you can read that or not, but probably not. It's over here. Anyway, let me see. There you go. Can't really read it. Oh, there, it's clear for a second. Anyway, so that was 2005. Enough of the antiques. I have enjoyed all of the stuff that I've done in domaining, and I was just checking. So right before this happened, I started, it was like 2 minutes to go, and then my computer decided to crash and my camera wouldn't work. So, of course, I had to reboot. But anyway, glad to be here. You've seen the paraphernalia and the swag that Richard Keeley asked about. I said I would show it on the show, so there you go. Hope you guys have lots of comments and questions today. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff. Because I had to reboot my system, I'm going to switch over to some other stuff that I wanted to show you. I have to log in somewhere to get what I wanted. But this was about the names that we picked last week on the show and which names we actually got that were pretty cool. So I noticed that some of you got some of the really good ones. I know homesystem.com was up for grabs. I don't know if anybody from the group got it. Last I saw it was $1,000 or something like that, and it probably went higher than that. I didn't pay it a whole lot of attention. I just know I did not win it because I was not bidding. I'll tell you some of the names, though, that I did get. I got, I'm logging in to get that now. I got lithium supplements, which I thought was good. And if I didn't have a lisp, I would be easier to say lithium supplements. I'll also share my screen and tell you some of the other ones that I was able to pick up. Again, these go through NameBright. So if you get them through one of the catch streams, they go through NameBright. So if you get it through drop catch, that's where they go. So let's look at the ones I picked up. I'll make it larger for you guys. I wanted Floral Leggings. I think it's a great domain name. So I wanted that one. Landscaping Paver, I wasn't convinced until last week when some of you said it was good. Protein Conditioner, I think it's okay, good name. Transferring Domain, well, it's our business, so great. RAM Discs, I thought was good, and Medical Sanitizer had a lot of traffic, so I thought that one was good. So I picked up those 6 from the drops that we discussed last week. I will stop sharing, and also Lithium Supplements, which was at another registrar and was not at that one. I was disappointed at my expectations. Not sure what that means, Joseph. You can explain that a bit later. Okay, so now we're back. So let's look at this week's list. Because I had a shutdown previously, right before this, I will take you to the tool, but I'm going to read you the list of names because I had it all done, and then, of course, I had to reboot because my camera wasn't working. So you'll see the tool, and I'll be able to tell you some cool stuff we're adding. I'm out of it, so that's good. So what I did was there was actually, surprisingly, this was a big drop date. It's tomorrow's drops. There were 230,000 names in the list, which is high considering it's usually only about 170. And then I noticed that there's a lot of city and then mate.com domains, so like Dallas Mate, Atlanta Mate, and stuff like that. So I didn't grab any of those. I wasn't all that interested. But I'll show you some of the, I'll read you some of the names that I did grab, and then we'll go through which ones are the best ones and things like that. So you better have your pen ready because you can't take a screenshot yet. I will put up the screen if you want to look at it afterwards and take a screenshot. So here's some of the names that I picked out from, they're dropping tomorrow. Youngerparent.com, 140,000. And one word, which I don't usually pick out, but it had a huge amount of traffic, 11 million, misshandles.com, 7 million on insured4. Forget, I might as well share this with you. It's too hard to go through this. So let's share the actual screen with you so you can look at exactly what I'm looking at. There you go. Is that the right one? Looks like it. Sure. Okay, so now you can see what I'm looking at, and I'll make it bigger. I'll make the font bigger. That way I don't have to just read like a crazy man. So we've got associate degree, which is good. It's got 23 million. Banking quote, which is a really interesting one. I guess for mortgage quotes or anything you want like that. Under Eater is one of the most popular ones in this list, 764 million. So that may be good for something. A lot of corona and fever ones. I only picked some of these to show you how important keywords are. So if you look at feverdetectors.com, it's 10,000. If you look at fever checks, it's 34,000. But if you look at fever checkers, it's only 207. So it's extremely important that you know and you check ahead of time what they are. Platedmeals.com, 123,000. Fever scans, 32,000. So I guess that's the big one when they scan you in. A name that I really like is Video Watermarks, because watermarks have been around on pictures for a long time and videos need them so that people don't steal your videos. So personally, I like that one. Laser centers could be for laser eye surgery, could be for laser anything. I didn't really think this was a thing till I looked it up. Regrow eyebrows, because I'm not sure how you actually regrow them, but I did think it was interesting, and so did 60,000 people who look for it every month. Friendship levels. That's interesting because I thought that it was a hard one, but I think a lot of people have friends on different levels. I'm not sure how you could do something with that site, but friendship levels is pretty good. Like, are you a level 1 friend? Are you a best friend? Who knows? Specialist vets, good name. Vocal lead. There's such a thing as voice leads and things like that that's coming out shortly, but vocal lead is actually pretty good. Banner's in the way. Let's get rid of the banner and let's make it a bit bigger. I'll move it up as well so you guys can keep on top of it all. So friendship level, specialist vets, vocal lead, Indian girlfriend, huge amount of traffic, 34 million, really good keywords. I thought it was okay. Tasty grilling, good brandable, not bad. Writer rooms, this could be good for something. 46,000 are interested in them. I'm not sure what I would do it for, but it would be good for writers or tech writers or something like that. Then again, taking a look at breed poodle and breed poodles for you poodle fans out there. 16,000 on the plural and 94,000 on the singular. Well, why do you think that is? Normally when somebody's looking for a poodle or a breeder for a poodle, they're only looking for one poodle. They're not looking for multiple poodles. That's why that one's the way it is. Ticket season, as everything starts to get back to normal and we come off lockdowns and things like that, I don't know, 76,000 sounds like a reasonable price if somebody's looking for a whole season worth of tickets, or as we call them, season tickets. Erase memory, 98,000. Maybe we can erase the last year and a half since it was a blur. A kid's pen, 178,000 uniques. I think you can find some sort of a cute pen. Soil aeration. I'm kind of upset with myself because I actually know what this means, so which is surprising because I don't have a green thumb or anything close to it, so completely useless when it comes to gardening. But this one's got 466,000, and it's something a lot of people need to do. This one, noise reducing, has a lot of traffic. Obviously, I would have preferred noise reduction, like noise reduction headphones, but with 202 million, you have to pay attention to it. Enclosed porch. The only reason I noticed this one is because my wife was telling me we're sitting out in the sun all the time in the backyard, and since I'm not big on heat, I can't take it for more than half an hour. So she's like, well, put up a porch enclosure. So that's why I did that one. Body detoxification. I don't know if this should be body detoxification. Probably should be, but I guess 47,000 people a month don't know that, or it's just me. Boneless chickens. Well, everybody eats them. Don't know how they walk, but everybody eats boneless chickens. So that's a really good name for companies that are involved in boneless chickens. Selected clothes. Now I'm thinking this could be a selection of clothes to give to charity. It could be a selection of clothes that people have gone online and they've selected. It could be selected by celebrities, would be a good thing, good way to sell that. So I thought that one was interesting. And then the last two, Smiles Bright, 121,000. Just a good brandable name for either a dentist or Invisalign type products or something like that. And then I really couldn't pass up on Smiley Catering. I thought that was an interesting name. When you want somebody catering your party, I think of the Friends episode. That had a lot of issues with it, but Smiley Catering, who wouldn't want a happy Smiley caterer? So that's that. I will tell you that out of these ones, I'm not sure what I would do with Indian Girlfriend, but I guess you could do something with it. It's a great domain name. For me, regrow eyebrows must be something. Video Watermarks is one of my favorites on here. And then what else we got here? Well, the noise reducing, I guess it could be anything that reduces noise, but you'd have to set up products. Huge amount of traffic. So there's a lot of them. I think I forgot fog sanitizer, but it's there as well. Also lots of traffic for whatever that is. And that's about it for this list. I will make this list available and upload to the Google Drive for everybody who's been in this chat. It will be in the place where all the emails are. So you will, it'll be dated today's date or tomorrow's date. It'll say June 10th drops. So I'll make that available. Any questions or ideas or thoughts on that at all? Let's go back to the comments. May have missed the explanation, but where does the traffic number come from? Often my SEO Quake number is vastly different. So this is a number that I get from Google's API, and it tells me the rough number, well, exact number of searches through Google itself. So I don't go through any tools to get it. So it has to be accurate since it comes from them, and I actually pay them for each query that's made with the tool. I am happy to check the number and verify exactly what it is, but I remember it was daily exact searches. But I'll check it for you guys. I think it's a very good question. I'm happy to do that. So let me minimize this list of things that we no longer need, and let's go back to some cool stuff. One of the topics, let me get rid of David's comment. Any other comments or questions on the names? Okay, I didn't mean to post that. Any other comments or questions on any of the domains that you've seen, feel free to post now, and then we will go into some other cool stuff. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee because I'm drained. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any questions, so let's move on a bit. There was some big discussion about what the first name was that people registered. One of the first names that I registered was pw.ca because I ran an internet service provider called Power Windows. In the early days, you had to register by state or by province. At least in Canada, you had to do by province. So if you were provincially incorporated, I could only get powerwindows.on.ca. So I purposely federally incorporated and then got powerwindows.ca. And then I went after pw.ca and a couple others. So pw.ca is one of the first ones I got and one of the first ones that I actually sold to Price Waterhouse. And a lot of you had other interesting ones in there as well. But because I go back way before most of you, I had some really good domains to sell the first time. So I've told you about the CityMate stuff. The tool, the Mac version is ready. I will give it to the two people who've already paid for it, who are running the Mac and can test it. And we'll get them to test it, make sure it's all working. A couple new additions to the tool some of you asked for. One is the ability to export the middle column. And I was thinking, why would you guys want to do that? And then I thought, well, if you select all of the name domains, you probably don't want to click and run them through individually. You probably just want to export them and see what's available and just register some. So that seemed like a good idea, so we'll do that. Then I'm going to share a tool with you, a different tool, and you can download this one free for 30 days. It's not my tool. It is called Domain Name Analyzer Pro. I'm just going to show you a couple of cool features that I like about it, and then we'll go back to our expired stuff and everything else. So I will share this with you now. What I've done is I've set it up for 3letter.ca just as a test. So how you do this is, let's say you want to start new and you want to add domains. So I'm going to pick 3 letters. I'll pick, let's say, 2letter.ca just for fun. I'll open that up, and then I'll go to, I wish I could enlarge this for you, but I can't. I will go to add from keywords, and then I will just put A to Z in the first 2 columns, or all 3 if I wanted to do 3-letter ones. I'll look at CA, and I'll just click OK, and it will automatically build all the combinations available for those domains, and you can do this for anything. And then basically all you do is hit check all, and it goes out and checks all of them to see what's available, what's expiring, and all that other cool stuff. That's one of the features you can have. I'm going to stop that now because I just wanted to show it to you. For some of the stuff, like when I did this 3-letter one, I'm just going to show you some of the results so you know how this thing works. So this is all the 3-letter domain names. Let's see if there's any way I can enlarge this for you, because I'm sure you guys are having trouble seeing it. I cannot. Can't even do it with scrolling. Okay, well, what it does is it takes all the domain names. It tells you what's about to expire. So I could say, oh, these are pending delete. I probably want to back order some of those. These ones are past the expiry date, so maybe I can register those today. These ones are past the registrar date. These ones are newly added, which there's none because they've all been registered. And then you can go through, and here's some that are, they have some that are like unregistered if they've already dropped. And then you've got other different things that you can look for and check for. But for me, if I want to do something like keywords, I'll start another one just to show it to you. New, let's pick city and plumber. So we'll do that. And then I'll go ahead and I'll add from keywords, and I'll replace all this crap with a few cities. Atlanta, Boston, Miami, Chicago, and let's pick one that people won't have. I'll try, well, we'll do Richmond. We'll do Augusta. Let's do Boca. And then basically in this column, you could put your services like plumber, locksmith. What else do we want? Plumber, locksmith, dentist, do ortho. O-R-T-H-O. We can do dentist. We can do homes. We can do houses. We can do vet, groomers. And now basically what you do is you hit OK, and it builds all those domains for you. And then you'll see them all here under all domains. You can check all, and you'll be able to see if anything is available or expiring. And then you can look at it in back order. It's just a cute little way to keep an eye on these things. And it's created all of them for you. It created 62 combos, but I could put unlimited words in here and actually use this thing. Where do you get this from? It comes from a company called Softnik. You go to softnik.com, S-O-F-T-N-I-K, or you can type in Domain Punch. Go to products, and it is called Domain Name Analyzer Pro. It may even be free now, and you just download it here, and it's free for 30 days to try. I do not have any affiliation or ownership with this product. It's just pretty good. You can't see my screen, I realize that, but that's where you go. Okay, so you've seen this, and let's just update it and see if there's anything else cool in here, and you can see it's looking at them all. See if there's anything past expiry date, about to expire, newly registered or unregistered. Nothing yet, but just because we picked a bunch that just as a demo. So pretty cool tool. Let's go back to our screen. There we are. So run out tomorrow, should be tested. Okay, Jen says she's around all day tomorrow and should be available Friday to test the Mac version. That's great. So I've shown you that tool. I think it's a pretty cool tool. I'm going to shut it down now. Get it out of my way. Okay, so we did that. Again, Richard Killey, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Let me know if you're there. We did have all the badges on before to show. You can watch the beginning of the video. Now, somebody else said that Hal was saying that he's looking at hiring and training a couple of interns. So if anybody is interested in that, maybe he will make it available to everybody. I know myself, I could definitely use an intern to do some of the work that I'm spending too much time doing. And also, if there's anybody that wants to be a group moderator that is in our top 10 as far as contributions to the group, let me know. I'd just be happy to have you in there. That way, if somebody posts some spam about names they want to sell or something, you can basically just delete the post. Also, tomorrow, the top 10 from May will have the link to go in and view the 3-day seminar that I gave them. Correct way to say is Killey. Most people mispronounce. I hope I'm saying it right. But anyway, so I'll make those streams available from the 3-day broker course that I did to the people in the top 10 who did the contribution. And we will get that done. Richard is saying that I did pronounce it right, so I'm happy about that. I don't want to do that. Jen says she'd be happy to be a mod in a few groups anyway. So good people, great. All right, let's go on to some other stuff. So when you're looking at domains, one of the things that I want to talk about is you should always remember that domain sales is only one stream of revenue. So what we need to do is make sure that you guys set yourselves up for at least 5 streams of revenue. That way, if one goes down, then we're okay, and you guys will have other streams of revenue coming in. So one of my questions to you guys, I'm going to look for an answer in the chat group, is do you care if you make 10K a month from selling domains or from selling other services that are related to domains or websites? Yes, you care and you only want to sell domains, or no, you don't care, you'd be happy just making 10K regarding domains and websites and selling stuff. Let's see what we get in the answer group, and then I'll go on to the next thing. So please post your answers. Do you just want to sell domains and try to make up your 10K that way, or are you okay doing anything related to the internet or anything else? So Tom just wants to sell domains only. Some people are saying any income. I thought it would be mostly any income at all, and domains will be like a really cool thing when it comes in. But either way, we're going to do both, so it doesn't really matter. The answers are pretty good. Lots of people floating them in. So Tom is the one that said just sell domains. Everyone else is fine with doing everything. Happy, any all income. Doesn't matter how I make it. Either way, 10K all the way. Either way, ditto on anything. Somebody else says domains only. I'm kind of surprised that the domains only. Happy to help you with it, but it's all about making bank and having extra money. You need to have 5 different ways to have revenue streams. If you just have one and you have a dry spell, you're going to be in trouble. So you also want to learn a couple other ways related to domains and websites so that you could get revenue in when you're not selling a domain name. So we'll look at that. Alexander says sales and development, just domains again, same person, redirect leads, rent, sell. Yeah, there's lots of different things we can do. So I'm going to post some of those in the group. They're all related to domains and websites, but we'll see what we get as we go through. But always have more than one stream. You should always have 5 different streams of revenue coming in. Okay, so another question that came up, and somebody's asking if we're going to get to how to grab expired domains. The answer is yes. Somebody else says you can download the Domain Analyzer free for 30 days to try out. Yeah, you can. So go ahead. Let's get rid of this banner and let's go on to what should I do. This is a question in the group. What should I do if someone else is listing my domains for sale, like on Afternic or on somewhere else? So what you should do is thank them. They're not going to be able to sell your domain. Obviously, you have it. Maybe they've listed it previously and never bothered to take it down, or maybe they've just added the domain name by accident. But either way, if they get a lead for it, they're still going to have to, the person at Afternic is still going to have to come to you directly for the name, which is why I've said before, you always need to have that page up with the domain where somebody can contact you directly to reach out. So that takes care of that. But I would just thank them. They're not actually going to be able to sell the name, and anything they do is fraudulent because they don't own the domain name. So I wouldn't worry about that. Some of the websites, Sarasota Gutters and Tempe Lawn Service, are done. They're completed. I will be making those live and getting DNS from you guys to switch it over. They are done. Tax exemptions, not done yet. It's a big site and needs to be done properly, and I'm not rushing it. A sale that I have brewing right now, sportswear.ca. Sportswear.ca, it's a Registry, and it's currently under offer, and we're just going back and forth, but my guess is we're within $800, so it's probably going to close shortly. Now, some experiments that I did with parking names. I tried parking them all on Afternic, and then I found the interface almost impossible to use. It's like it was written in 2005 and hasn't been changed. The problem that I had, because I have so many domain names, is to go through and target based on a maximum of 50 names per page is impossible. It's very difficult, even changing them all to buy now or buy now as offer, or adding to their immediate sell platform through GoDaddy, but you have to pick one of them because you want those names to sell through GoDaddy. So I ended up moving them all to Uniregistry that has a much more modern system owned by the same company and still get promoted on GoDaddy. So I would suggest you use Uniregistry over Afternic for your names, unless you find it easy to manage, but I don't see anything that's easy to manage on Afternic for anybody with a larger portfolio than a couple hundred. Afternic, yeah, 50, I even made in my notes, Afternic 50 per page is a horrible interface. Okay, so we're going to go to our topics in a second. A couple of good ones. Jen says, agrees the interface stinks. It does, unfortunately. I mean, they used to be really good, and then all of a sudden it just had a problem. Robert, just download and upload the list, which make it very easy. Yeah, it's easy to download, it's easy to upload, but then when I find I upload a list, then half of them get declined, or a good third of them, because they may have been in other portfolios, and then I have to do the work. It doesn't tell me if it's going to get in touch with me and say, okay, we'll check these names and we'll verify they're yours and give them back. It just says these ones are rejected. So while the list is easy, it's hard to really change the the targeting. I mean, even to go in and target them based on one at a time and having custom landing pages, like if I want to do one related to real estate or something like that, it's not easy. Let's see. Everyone just made a home. Hey, Scott, welcome. I've seen it recommended. You put your first name, you put your names on BOTUS for a few weeks to see what kind of traffic they get before them moving to other places. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think that's probably recommended by Matt, who owns BOTUS. I don't think there's any reason why. Like, I'm still getting really good traffic numbers on my names no matter where they are. So that doesn't really matter. What I really care about, though, is that I get accurate traffic numbers. And one of the things that I did when I put them over to Registry was I put them all on a for sale page. And then I checked the parking revenue, and I wasn't getting any parking revenue, so I decided to take a look and change it and see what I could do there to make sure. Because with having 4 domains there, apparently last month I made $137 in parking revenue. So now I figure I might as well put them all there and see what happens, since it is extra revenue while they look at the names. But absolutely have that contact thing on your form to get those domain names. Okay. Let's talk about catching. Well, any other questions before we go to catching expired domain names? And I've got quite a bit to say on that and some cool stuff as well. Nobody has any questions that have come through. We have a good audience, though, so I'll have a coffee while you guys think about it. Stephen, can you talk pricing strategies when listing? So I assume you're talking about listing your domains on any one of the marketplaces. And not about expired domain names. So if you're looking at pricing strategies when listing your domains, always look at what you bought it for and what you'd be happy with for it. Don't really look at comparables, but if the name has traffic or it's got exact matches, you've got a better chance of selling it. Again, pricing strategies really depends on you. You have to see who the buyer is. You have to be in control of the negotiation, whereas a lot of times if you put it up with a buy now, you're not going to be in control of it, and you won't be able to know who it is or control the negotiation. So example, for sportswear, if I just put up a buy now of whatever it was, they may have just bought it and I didn't know what happened. So I didn't. So in this case, we started low, went high, and now we're trying to close it and figure out what the right price is. But basically, that's how you want to do your pricing strategies. And I'm happy to do, Stephen, if you want to just talk privately, I'm happy to give you some strategies based on some of your names. And we can look at it. But everybody's got different strategies. It really depends what you hope to get out of a name that's realistic. And it has nothing to do with market value, because no two names are comparable. I see more people coming on. So somebody asked, where do you put a contact form? So a lot of the parking companies have a little strip you can put at the top that says, this domain is for sale, inquire here. And then you can add your email address or phone number or both or whatever you want. Or you can put a one-page site up on your own and say, look, I need this here. This tells me you have it. If you're not making any parking revenue to begin with, it doesn't really matter. You might as well just put them on a contact us page. I've done that with a lot of names. If there's no traffic to them and you're not losing any parking revenue, then the only thing to do is to put them on a page for sale. Otherwise, you're just diluting the page for sale by having a bunch of stuff on it when you don't really need it. Okay, so let's look at catching domain names. Why would you want to catch expired domain names? Well, there's a few reasons. One, there's a name that you want specifically for a business or for something that you're looking at, and you want to build it out long term. Or you want to buy a name because you think it's got traffic and it would be good for monetization, or you want to buy a name because you want to flip it. You think it's got a lot of buyers, you think it's available, and you want to get it in the drops. So how do you do this? So the first thing you're going to do is if it's a specific name that you want, you need to look up and see the who is and see what registrar has the domain name. Once you figure out what registrar has the domain name, it gives you better clues on where to back order it, who is most likely to get it in the marketplaces. So for example, if you see something that's at GoDaddy, or you see something that's at Wild West, or any other company owned by GoDaddy or an alias, you want to go there to see where you can get it and back order it on GoDaddy. If you see something is back ordered on something on a different registrar and you see they're partnered with Namejet or SnapNames, that's the primary place you want to get it. But the industry has changed a lot in the last little while. There only used to be a few companies where you could go ahead and back order a domain name and you would actually have a chance to get it. It used to be Pool.com, who's still in business. It used to be SnapNames. It used to be Namejet. And those were really the only places that could get it. All the names from web.com and from Enom and everything else went into one of those three. So that's where you used to get it. But now the game has changed a lot. You've got different companies coming on to the field, and companies like DropCatch are catching on, no pun intended, very quickly. Companies like sav.com, Save and DropCatch are catching a lot of the names that some of these other companies aren't getting. And remember, these are companies that are now carrying not just .coms, but they're carrying other TLDs and ccTLDs. So you want to take a look at save.com and dropcatch.com. One thing I'm kind of surprised at is with most of the other sites like Namejet, and I'm not sure if this is still the case, but I believe so, you had to put in a back order on the domain name to have a chance of getting into the auction. Now with DropCatch and with Save, it seems to be that as long as they catch it, you can go in and get into the auction afterwards if you have money. So you're no longer basically limited to if you've back ordered that name before. Some of them yes, some of them no. So you have to take a chance and decide whether you want to do that. For most of the names that we've been selecting through the daily tool and the lists, I'm finding that most people are not finding them, and I'm able to get a lot of them for just a domain registration fee without back ordering them. So that's pretty cool. I think that's a good idea. But yeah, you definitely need to make sure that when you're running these, yeah, and Tom asks a good question. Can you back order these on several sites? Yeah, you can back order the same domain on 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 different sites. Most of the sites, you only pay for the domain name if they actually get it for you, and they get it. And then in that case, they'll get it, and then they may tell you you're the only one who back ordered it, in which case you'll be able to get that name, and that name will not go to auction. But if there's more than one person who has it, who back ordered it, then that name will go to an auction, and you'll be informed that you are taking part in an auction with however many bidders there are. One thing you probably want to keep in mind is that your auction strategies should be very simple. You should not be bidding on names when you know the name goes to an auction besides the original bid if you had to put it in. So if you see that you got, what was one, homesystem.com, one of the great ones from last week. So if you see you're in the auction for homesystem.com, you can go to the page and you can see how many people will have pre-bid on the name, and it could be 20, it could be 30. Don't bid up that name right away. Just leave it, check when it's about to end, and then come back within an hour of when it's going to end and then start to keep an eye on it. Because what it's going to do is two things. One, it's either going to get bid up by people who aren't really interested in the name and they're just creating a higher price for that name to begin with, or people just found that it's back ordered and they're going there now to hope that they can get it, and they can't. So the bottom line is it's going to go through that auction process and that auction time no matter what you do. So make sure you don't come in until the near end of the auction and hope that a lot of those people that put in early bids are not there with you, like what happened with tax exemptions a few weeks ago. There were probably about 20 bidders. There were only a couple in the end, 2 or 3, that actually remembered the name was expiring and what time, and then you have to go in and at that time and keep an eye on it. And then you can also decide what your ceiling is. Do not get caught up in a bidding war just to say you won. Make sure that you go in there saying, okay, I'm going to spend $500 on this name and that's it, and then you have to be able to walk away. Now, if it's a name that you think is worth $10,000, you can set your ceiling based on your budget, but still you don't want to have all your names and all your money in that one name. Unless it's a great name and you're going to build something for it, or you've got somebody who's going to pay you top dollar to sell it. A couple other comments in here. Save only tries to catch names on their auction list only. Okay, that's good to know. Does that mean only names that people have backordered there originally? That sounds like what it means, instead of just their connection to. So if somebody puts a bid on a name, then they're going to try to catch it. Next, when you backorder, are you told and when the auction is? Yes, but you know that the domains are going to drop somewhere around 2:30 Pacific time, which is about 5 o'clock, 5:30 Eastern time. So you should be checking the sites that you put the name in on a bid on, just to see if you want, if it's something that you're really trying to get. If it's you put in about 20 and you don't really care that much, then just wait for the emails. But if there's something specific you want, follow up with it and make sure that you're the one. Don't give somebody the right to make you forget about a domain name just because you didn't go back to look for it where you backordered it. So the other thing you can do is, after the drops, you can go two ways, and this is how I found one of the names is, I'll hide this now. You can look at the who is for that name after it's been dropped and picked up by a registrar, and then it may say it's drop catch, and then you can go to drop catch, and even if you didn't have a bid there, you can go in and place a bid at drop catch on that name, because now you know that they picked it up. So you can do it that way. So you'll know from the who is on who the register is that won it. But then again, drop catch uses NameBright. They all use different services and different things. Save actually has their own registrar built in, but some of them send them to different companies to look at. So that's basically drop catching is basically taking a list of names, going through a tool or a service, figuring out which ones you want and which ones you have the ability to either build to keep for yourself or build a business, monetize because you either want to put an affiliate website on there, or you want to have an AdSense site where you're going to get a lot of traffic, and like it could be about coronavirus.ca, and it could just be information. It could be anything like that. And that's the reason why you want to monetize it. And the third one is because you want to flip it, and you may have buyers, you may not have buyers, but obviously it's better to put more money into names that you want to build long-term or monetize than it is to hopefully buy a name that you think you can flip that you may not be able to, and you may be holding for a bit longer than you'd like because you're tying up that budget. Let's see if there's any other questions. And feel free to put questions in. I want to make sure we get to all of them. But the main thing right now is to understand, to find out where the domain is, who it's partnered with, what registrar, and then you'll know where to backorder it. And if you have any questions and you see a domain that's with a registrar you don't know of, feel free to let me know or ask, and I'll tell you where it's most likely to drop. On a side note, before SnapNames was SnapNames, it was a company called Snaganame. Snaganame.com just dropped on GoDaddy the other day, and I think I picked it up for about $21. Snaganame was bought by SnapNames. It was run by, originally from a gentleman, I believe from Norway. And anyway, now I picked up Snaganame, and I'm going to build a really good expiring domain site there for you guys to be able to find stuff for free, but it takes time. It's been in development already for a month. It will be good when it's done. It's going to have only what you need, not a bunch of other crap that will just dilute your thinking. Okay, any other questions about drops, expired domains, anything like that? For those of you wondering, I delayed the CRM discussion this week because I needed more time to prepare for it and to set up the emails so you guys can use it. I will probably post some of those emails in the next week inside the group before the next show. Okay, let's see, any other questions? Let's see, we got, can you back order on several sites? We talked about that. When you back order, are you told when the auction is? Yeah, the other thing is it's up to you to keep track of when the auction expires, so make sure you do that. Don't some auction sites have bots that are attracted to names with bids on them? They may not. I don't really care about that. But one of the things that I will do when I go to an auction site, if I have nothing in mind personally, is I will go and I will look at the names that are dropping, and then I'll sort them by number of bids, because I figure probably if it's got a bid on it, I may be interested. For example, there was a 2-letter .nl domain name that expired yesterday, and I was sent a note just because I guess they figured a buyer by Catch Tiger saying, hey, you may be interested in this name. So I went and I looked at it. I probably would have bought it had I been around at the time that it expired today, but needless to say, I didn't win that domain name. But all good. You can take a look and make sure you keep up to date on what is dropping. It's hard to go through a list of 230,000 domain names, so you probably need a tool very similar. That's why I developed the expired domain search tool, because it was easier for me. And then I decided you guys probably wanted it. So anyway, if anybody still is interested in the tool, I said I would do a price plan for people who wanted it and didn't have the money to pay all up front and wanted to split into a couple payments. I'll gladly do that. Next questions. What do you think of the names like Peace Like? It has 5 million searches a month. What can I do with it? You know, I know you asked me this a couple times on private chat. I'm trying to figure out what I would do with Peace Like. As I just Google, I mean, there's a song that comes up, Peace Like a River, but I'm not sure. It's a very famous song, actually. That may be where a lot of the traffic comes from. But even when I type in Peace Like, it's, it's a tough one. I don't know what I would do with something like that. It's a good domain, but I'm not sure what I would do with it. Joseph asking again about the CRM. I will not be talking about the CRM today just because it takes more preparation to do it properly, but I will post something in the group for you guys. Next, if you post your domains on marketplaces, how can you set the contact us page when you point the name servers to state or unit registry? So there are different features that different marketplaces have where they allow you to add the contact us strip at the top. You just need to pick one that has that, and you can do that. And I think even there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can even just get a hold of whoever you want to partner with and see if they have that option. That's really the best way to do it. Washington Plastic Surgeon is a good name to sell. It is. You just have to figure out what plastic surgeon in Washington will want that name. The good news, it's Washington. You can sell it in Washington, D.C. or Washington State, but you got to find somebody who's interested in buying that domain name. Any other questions, concerns, anything about auctions that you want to know and have been afraid to ask? Anything about expired domain names? What makes an expired domain great? The answer is that you can look at it and somebody else can look at it and you can instantly figure out what business or what type of business would benefit from owning this domain name if you're trying to sell it. That is the single most important factor. It is not about stats. It doesn't matter how many backlinks if you're selling it to a business that would benefit from it. They don't care. They don't even know what a backlink is. They just care what's going to happen. Is it going to be, is it going to have traffic? Is it going to bring them leads? And off we go. Is Namejet and Dropcatch partners? I don't believe so. I know that that they could be. I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. I know that Dropcatch, when I got my names from them, they sent me a NameBright account saying your names are here. At first, I was like, I don't even know where to get the names that I want, and then I finally found out that it was at NameBright. They didn't send me the login either. You have to use your same Dropcatch username and password once you figure out that it's NameBright and log in there, and that's how I found the names that I won that I paid for. So maybe an email would have been a good idea. But Dropcatch is a really good service, and NameBright seems to have a good interface. There's no issue with that at all, and it seems to be all great and dandy. Any questions, any suggestions, anything else? While you guys are thinking of questions, I'm going to go upload the list for tomorrow to Google Drive so you guys know exactly where to find it. It will be in the same place as the templates that you had before. So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to drop it in. This is the list for the domains dropping tomorrow. Let me go find the list, today's list. There you go. It's now in there, and I will rename it. It's uploaded, done, and I will now rename it to Drops for tomorrow. Drops June 10th. So the name is there. It says Drop June 10th. You can go and download it if you have access to this folder. If you do not have access to the folder, send me a message on Facebook Messenger, and I will gladly send you the link so you can access the group. What else we got? How do you determine price value? You know, it's very hard. Price value is never determined by what you think. It's only determined what you can get the buyer to pay. Even with sportswear, I think it's a great name. I think it's a whole industry, but it's only a certain amount of buyers that can do it, so it really depends on which ones we want to use. It's recorded. Kathy, when I first joined the group, you had done a personal names live. Was that recorded? I got the shorter version, but would like to see the full live if possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is recorded. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. If it's not, I will look for it. and definitely we can do that. Can we import using your software? Yeah, instead of importing the domain list from Namejet or from wherever you're getting your expired domain list, you can import your own domains as well if you want, or a list that you want to check on from anywhere. So yeah, you can import any dropped or domain list into the tool and run it and see what you get. Hope that answers that question. Any other questions or concern? This one's running on 50 minutes and we're doing pretty well here today. The main thing is knowing not to go into those auctions and start bidding them up, because you're basically bidding them up against yourself if you go in too early. That's why it's called auction sniping. Somebody says they're not getting the notification on G Drive. You will not get it unless you've asked for this link before. It is called email and call templates. And I'm looking at the file and it's definitely there. So if you haven't received or gotten access to the previous email templates or the emails to prospects or the handling of objections and how to handle those, it's in that same thing. You will need to message me on Facebook and I will send you a link to the Google Drive. It'll log you in and then it'll ask you for permission. You request access, and then I get a note to give you permission. That way it doesn't circulate all over the place. So that's not a problem. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Otherwise, I think we're going to cut it. Are we expecting CRM tutorial next podcast? I'm probably going to do it before the next podcast because it's going to be in quite a bit of detail. It'll go longer than an hour, so I'm probably going to record it. I may make it open if you guys want to join, but I'm probably just going to record it and post it in the Art of the Name area. So it'll be posted here in the group and you'll be able to find it, and I'll obviously post a post saying it's there when it's uploaded. Anybody else have any questions? Going once, going twice. Well, thank you everybody. Have a great day and I will look forward to seeing you all in the group. Take care and talk soon. Bye-bye.